So hi everyone. So today we have a guest in our YouTube channel. So this couple is my former coaching student. Please introduce yourself, guys.
Hi, Cheryl. Thanks for having us. I'm Lacey.
And I'm Chris.
Congratulations for doing well after our sessions. Like you've been with me for a year, right? And you are one of the students I have that scaled up so quickly, and I'm really proud of what you did. And actually, like just to let our audience know, so now like after is it a year already? Like more than a year or
I think
2 years?
2 years. Yeah.
We just passed 2 years.
2 years, right? Yeah. So after 2 years of being working with them, so now they're my co-coach in my coaching company.
Yay.
So yay. So Lace and Chris, like tell me about your Amazon journey. Like let us know how you started and what made you do this business. Go ahead.
Sure. I'll start and you can add to it, Chris. I think about 2 or 3 years ago, we started looking online, of course, as everyone does, for options. We both work full time in corporate roles. I'm in marketing and Chris is in IT. So we've been working full time since graduating for about 10 years now. And we both work really hard in our jobs, but we're just, burnt out from, working long hours. I commute to my job downtown and it can take me upwards of 2 hours each way. So, sometimes that's 3 or 4 hours gone in a single day, just commuting to my job, right? So, and, we work really hard, but, whenever you work in a full-time job, the most that you can get really is, a 2, maybe a 5% raise per year. So we're getting pretty tired of the rat race. So we're looking at, options online just to see, is there something else that we can do maybe that might work better for our lifestyle, because we just moved into our new home and we knew that we were going to have children soon. We now have 2, of course. So
congratulations.
It's very, very busy around here. But yeah, just knowing that, we wanted to start a family, there was no way that we could do that commute full time. So we really need to look at other options and what was out there. So of course, you do the regular Google searches, you come across a bunch of YouTube videos. We stumbled across Amazon FBA and naturally bought a really expensive course and went down the path of private label, right? So that was a mistake on its own. But yeah, I mean, after going through all of that and it not working, of course, we stumbled across, another course and another Facebook group where we were able to meet you, Cheryl, which is how we started doing Amazon RA, OA, and wholesale using all the methods that you taught us. So that's been going great for us so far.
How about you, Chris? Can you introduce yourself, please?
Yeah, so my name is Chris. I'm Lacey's husband. So just to add on to on what Lacey said, we started generally, I think, end of 2018, and just by doing the commute, we were just getting really tired, right? Especially since we knew, we wanted to start a family pretty soon. So we just knew like there had to be a better way. So going back, what Lacey said, we tried a private label type of course, right? And with that, it did work, but unfortunately, it just things got saturated really quick. We having to compete against China sellers, right? And it just got really hard, and the community was so big that it was really hard to kind of get that one-on-one time. So we tried our best, right, with that product. It worked out at first okay, right? But then afterwards, it just started going downhill, and the cost to advertise was just getting too expensive. So again, we had to find a new way to kind of find ways to generate income, right, on the side. So with that, like Lacey mentioned, we found the course right through the community, and then with coaching with you, we were quickly able to just kind of scale up our business through RA, OA, and wholesale, and that's what we've been doing the past 2 years.
Yeah, I want to talk more about that, right? Because I think you guys are the very good example of how most people or most seller who wants to double in Amazon, the only like a lot of the information out there, especially in YouTube, are private label, right? But a lot of people don't know that private label is actually not recommended for a newbie, right?
Yeah.
So because what happens is that they didn't know that, you know, it costs money in order for them to start that that route, right? So with you guys, so what's the difference between private label and arbitrage, right? Like, so you're now doing arbitrage and replens and also wholesale. So what's the difference? Because you guys have experience. So what's the difference between the two? Like based from your experience.
Yeah, so definitely with private label, there is huge, big upfront costs before you can even start generating money. You know, you're looking at, you know, finding a product, you know, testing out products, trying to launch it, right? Trying to, you know, rank for certain keywords so that when people, you know, search for your product, you can easily, you know, show up as, you know, the top positions, right? So people can, you know, easily click on your link, right? With that being said, it just really came up to that big upfront cost, right? You don't really see those returns until like a good 3-6 months even.
If you're lucky.
Yeah, if you're lucky into, you know, launching your private label course, right? Or sorry, product label product. And with that being said, you know, you're in the hole for quite a bit, right? Up front. And it does take a long time before you start seeing those sales. On the flip side, you know, RA, OA, right? You know, we're, you know, taught to, you know, test a couple products that, you know, sell relatively well, right? You know, send it to Amazon, you know, if it sells relatively quickly, you know, we try to maybe double the amount of items for the next shipment, right? But you can just quickly see that your returns on your money through this method of sourcing.
Yeah, so with you guys, I remember how proud am I with you when you showed me your results, right? So we've been coaching for I think 3 months. How long before you hit the 50K a month?
I
Do you
think
remember?
Yeah, so we actually have a couple notes here. So our first month we hit 2K, right? Because we're just building our inventory and learning how to source properly. So we didn't have much then. Our second month we hit 17K with you, 17,000. Our third month was 26,000. And I think it was about the fifth month or so where we hit the 50K mark because we were just entering in Q4. And I believe it was December where we hit 70K.
Yeah.
So think about it. Our first sale was August 11th, and in December we were able to hit 70K. And
isn't it amazing?
We're really happy with that.
Yeah. So for me, I would just add that that's the difference between private label and arbitrage, right? So if you are starting, I think yes, it's a good thing to have private label. I think it's also the reason why it's good is because you don't have competition. So you own your own listings, right? But it costs money. So it costs money to advertise. It costs time, a lot of time to, you know, create your listing, build your listing and everything. So, and it's not even guaranteed. I know like with me, I also started with sort of like private label in a way. So it's like the bundling, right? So I bundled things from China and everything. And that's what I realized after a month of like, you know, I managed to sell everything, right? But all the money that I made just went to the PPC for the advertising. So as compared to the arbitrage is almost like instant, right? As long as you learn already how to find the product or do the research properly, like the comeback of the money is like instant, right?
For sure.
So I have a question for you. So because, you know, I have a lot of students and actually the course that I will be releasing, I will actually give all the information that I taught you for the arbitrage part. Yeah, like
awesome.
It's a good deal, you know, like, so I'm gonna be putting it just pre-recorded, but the same exact method that I teach you, I will put it into a course, right? So even if I'm teaching a lot of people, the results are different, right? So it varies. Like I have students who manage to scale up to 1 million in a year. You guys are one of those who scaled up really quickly to like 50, 70K a month, right? In few months. But there's also some who's not as you know, as high, right? So what do you think is the things that you did for on your part that made you scale up like that as fast as 5 months?
Yeah, I mean, a couple of things come to mind right off the bat. It's
Mm-hmm.
I think we were so disappointed with our results with private label that we knew we needed to try something else. So we weren't ready to fully give it up. But
Mm-hmm.
we committed to finding something else that would work for us because we were
Mm-hmm.
seeing the results of other people that other people were having in the community. And clearly, Amazon FBA is working. It's just we started with the wrong model. So we immediately committed to finding something that did work for us. And we were willing to do whatever it took to kind of make it
Mm-hmm.
work, right? And whatever it takes sometimes means sacrificing your time, right? We were willing to commit the time. And we were willing to put up, the resources like the capital that was required to start the business. So I know everyone starts differently, some with, a few $100s. For us, we were willing to invest a couple of thousand into our first, set of inventory. So I think for us, just making that commitment with time and the capital up front
Mm-hmm.
in order to scale faster because we wanted to see the results, right? We knew that in order to accelerate the growth of our business, we needed to make that investment. And that's why we partnered with you to have you as our coach to kind of help guide us along the way. So we didn't make the same, mistake that we made with private label.
That's
Yeah.
true. Yeah, that's the reason why people get coached, right? So the reason why, if you can afford it, get a coach because it will save you a lot of time. So think about it, like you invest, let's say, $6,000 or $10,000 in coaching, right? And then when you end up getting at the end of the year is way more. Like you can just make that in
For
a
sure.
month,
Yeah.
right? Like that kind
For
of
sure.
money that you invest in coaching, you can get it like within a month if you're really gonna follow through on and take actions, right?
Exactly.
So how much, like, so a lot of newbies, they're asking, okay, like how much investment do I need in order for us to make, like, let's say when you start, like $20,000 a month. So how much more or less was the investment already during that time? Do you know? Do you remember?
I believe during that time we had I would say about $15,000 worth of inventory,
Mm-hmm.
either sitting at the Amazon warehouse or being sent into the Amazon warehouse. So,
Mm-hmm.
of course, it takes some time for things to check in, but I think it
Yeah.
was around 15K.
Yeah, and with that, more or less, how much? So for the 70K that you make, like for example, during Q4, right? So you sold 70K in 1 month. So more or less, how much is the profit or the take-home pay, like after all expenses?
Yeah, so we
That's
definitely aim for 20% on gross profit end of the day.
mm-hmm.
Yeah, so
Margin,
margin. So I mean 20% of 70,000 would have been roughly right our take home.
Yeah, so that's really good. So where can you find a business? So if you think about it, Lace and Chris are still working full time, and they make this extra money, right? Like every month, by just being disciplined. So I want to point out, because I know that I spoke with you before, and you guys are one of the most disciplined students I've came across. So, Chris, tell me about your day. Like, what do you do every day, right? Like, for you to be able to still do work for
Yeah.
Amazon.
Yeah, so it's definitely more hard now that we also have a 4-month-old on our hands. Before, when we first started, we had a small grace period of just Lacey not working hard in the evenings, weekends, and even waking up early morning before we do our work, right? And that's where we spent a lot of our time, right? But then quickly things changed. She became pregnant. We had our first baby boy, right? And yeah, we just had to work around the schedule. Like I think we were in this really strong hustle, do whatever it takes type of mood, right? And then with that being said, whatever free time that we had was just spending time on building up our business. And yeah, I mean, we knew everyone's journey is different, but for us, we really knew that this was for us. We wanted to make it work, Therefore, we put in, all the effort that we can as much as possible. Hence, joining, the coaching program with you, right? To,
Mm-hmm.
learn, how to, scale quickly and learn all the, techniques, right? To properly, scale our business.
Yeah, I remember it. I think it was you who, like, you would wake up really early and go to Walmart
Yes.
before going to work,
Yeah,
correct?
exactly. Yeah, I would.
Yeah.
Walmart would open at 7 a.m. for example, right? So I'd be there, right at 7 a.m. I'd pick up some product, whatnot, put it in the car, and then I'd go straight to work, right afterwards. So, 9 to 5, or I would, do my normal, day job, right? And then I would just work around that schedule. Like if I had to do some traveling, I'll do some traveling, right, for work. But outside of that, evenings, right? Weekends, early mornings, whatever free time that we had, would be us, spending time on the business and just really making it grow.
And I think that's the reason why you guys scaled up so quickly, because you guys have the discipline of, like, not looking for things to complain about, right? Or that things are not working out, but instead you guys, really, like, put a lot of effort, even if it means you need to wake up early just to get things done, right? Because
For
one of the things we did is, like, we try to hit targets, right? Like our goal for a month or something like that.
Right.
So you always make sure that you're hitting the target every month. So I think, for me as a coach, as your coach, I think that's the reason why you guys scaled up so quickly, because you really have that discipline to follow through. Whenever I ask you to, after our sessions, you would say, I would tell you, I'll give you homework, and then it's
Yeah.
done, right?
Yeah, yeah.
So I think that's what it is. Okay, so to wrap it up, like, so what is your advice to newbies? So for people who's, like, listening to this interview and wanting to start also do Amazon and start making money, especially those who have also young family, right? Like you guys, like us. So what's
Mhm.
your advice?
Yeah, so definitely, I mean, I think taking action is always the number one key. You can read books, you can watch all the YouTube, you can join, all these, Facebook groups, right? And just absorb all the material. But until you actually start applying it and taking action on, okay, what's the first step do I have to do? Oh, okay, maybe, open up a Seller Central account, etc. Right? Until you take those steps, right? All those, fancy gadgets, they're not gonna do you any good unless you, start taking action and move forward, right? That's definitely, my advice for any new people, looking into learning about Amazon. Just make sure that whatever you do, if you feel like this is for you, right, just start taking action, because if you just leave it on, the sidelines, you're never going to get anything done.
Very good advice. How about you, Lace? What's your advice to people who's just, starting or wanting to start Amazon business?
Yeah, I mean, definitely get started. I mean, taking action is very important, but on top of that, just making that commitment, like decide for yourself if you're happy with where you are, and if you're not, it's time to do something about it, right? I know that's how we were able to get into this ourselves, is just, not being happy with, where we are, and wanting something better for ourselves and for our children that we have now. And this Amazon business is what's going to allow us to do that. So first committing, and then taking action. But also, at the beginning, you really need to commit to doing what it takes, right? So whether that's taking a course, getting coaching, but implementing everything that you learn, right? It's one thing to just learn and watch YouTube videos and read all the books, but if you don't do anything with that knowledge, your business is not going to grow. Unfortunately, that's just the reality of it. And for Chris and I, our business has grown to what it's become simply because we took action, like you said, right away. You would teach us something, and immediately that night we would practice that new skill. Or if you taught us a new sourcing method, we would practice it right away, and we would do that for a week, 2 weeks, a month, whatever it took, until we were able to get it down pat and be able to basically do it in our sleep, right?
Yeah.
Yeah, definitely taking action is key, but also surrounding yourself with really good people that are in this business. I know it's really isolating to kind of, sit in front of your computer for hours a day, especially when you're new sourcing, right? You don't really know if you're making the right buying decisions. So, um, being in a Facebook community like yours, Cheryl, is what's going to help you learn and grow a lot faster, because then you can bounce ideas off one another and ask questions, especially if you're not sure about a keep a chart, or you get a buyer message that you're not sure how to answer. Those are the types of questions that you'll have as a new seller, and in order to get that right support, you definitely need to be in a good community like yours.
Wow, thank you for that. So do you think, like, so a lot of people say, oh, arbitrage is already dead. Like, for you, in your case, is it true? Like, what would you say about that? Because, like, whenever I hear that, like, I can't believe, like, some people don't want to do it anymore simply because they say, oh, arbitrage is dead. Is that true for your business?
Yeah,
Absolutely
I don't think
not.
so.
I mean, just before this meeting with you, Cheryl, I was upstairs sourcing and I found 38 new products just this morning. So
Right.
it's definitely not dead.
Mhm.
I'll say that's for sure.
Yeah,
Yeah.
for
So
sure.
how's your experience with Canada? I know you started with US too, right? So you started with US and then you switched back to
Mhm.
Canada. So what's your experience here in Canada? Do you still sell in the US? Can you tell me more about that one?
Yeah, so our
Sure.
private label was based on the US, because that's where the course teaches you, because they have the bigger marketplace, the and more people are purchasing on Amazon.com, right? So we started out there for sure, right? But then afterwards, once we kind of switched gears and went to online arbitrage, we started selling only in Canada, right? And only
Mm-hmm.
recently, the past month, we started selling also in the US again, right? Just to kind of help increase some of our sales, but until then, we've just been focused on Canada, which is a smaller market, so it is a little bit slower, right? But yeah, right now, Canada and US as
A
well.
little slower in comparison to the US market. But even if you wanted to grow to a business like ours, where we're averaging, 40 to 50K a month, it's totally doable just on the Canadian market.
Mhm.
And I'm sure there are other sellers who have much larger sales volume than us, right? And you can do that alone just on Canada, right? The reason why we decided to expand to the US is one, because you taught us how to do that, and we definitely want to put that in practice. But two, because we want to grow our business, right? And in order to grow our business, we want to be able to test and sell products in another marketplace. And we know that the US marketplace is much larger.
Yeah, actually, like with me, I sell now in the States, focusing on a niche, and I see like it's a really big potential, and actually like now I cannot keep up even like so for me like one thing that I would share with the audience is that you don't need to compare yourself to other people. Like it doesn't matter what's the sales every month, right? It's what you're comfortable with, right? So for example, with me, yeah, I made, I can easily make 1 million a year. And if I want to, I can easily make 2 million, 3 million a year. But for me, my priority is my family, right?
Mhm.
So at the end of the day, it's like I cannot keep up with so many things going on that I'm already happy right now that I'm in a 1 million mark, because I know that if I want to scale up, that means I need to put more time. And what does it mean for me? It's my family will gonna be suffering because of that, right? So
Yeah.
Right.
at the end of the day, like the most important thing is what's your goal for doing this. For me, I always come back to the reason why I decided to do Amazon is because I want to have time for my kids. And if I'm not gonna have time for my kids, what's the point of this business, right?
Yeah.
Mhm,
Yeah.
for sure. We
Yeah.
can definitely relate to
Yeah.
that. I mean, even for us right now, we have a 4-month-old, so it does get, challenging to be able to get out there and source and be able to
Mm-hmm.
shop and pack all the products ourselves in the spare time that we have. But even for us, we're comfortable, growing at a slower pace right now, after accelerating so fast at the beginning, simply
Mm-hmm.
because just like you, we want to be able to spend time with our children,
Yes.
right? Because they're only young for so long.
Yeah. So what's your ultimate dream? Like, what's the end goal for your Amazon business? Like once it's stable and stuff, do you plan to quit your corporate job? I know you have a really good job, you make really good money, but people might think, are you crazy for, planning to quit or something for an
Mhm.
exchange? So what can you say about that?
Yeah, definitely. I think, it's fair to say, that would be, the end goal, right? Because we both know, like, hey, if I'm not focused on, my corporate job, right, I would have much more time to, work on a business. I wouldn't have to stay up as late. I wouldn't have to wake up as early in the morning just to, work on the business, right? If I can dedicate, those hours between 9 to 5 and just focus, on our business, that would be wonderful, right? But I
Yeah.
mean, definitely, I think, for Lacey and I, once we get to that point where, we look at our financials and we just, kind of assess, how we are currently doing it in our business, for sure, I think the end goal will definitely be that, we'll end up, leaving behind our corporate jobs and, dive into the business, full time.
Yeah, I'm excited for you guys. I know that you guys can do it. You have the dedication, you have the discipline. And once you're ready, I know that your business will take off more, especially like you know how to maneuver the business already, you know what to do, you have the discipline. And I know for sure that you guys can do it.
Thank you,
Yeah.
Cheryl.
Yeah. So
you-
thank you for lending us your time today. Like I'm really happy that I finally managed to interview you because you guys are one of the students that former students I have that's really like did well and did so much action in order for you to scale up that quickly, right? So that's it. Like I hope you enjoyed their story and be inspired with it. I hope you this interview will give you an idea or like an inspiration in order for you to start your own journey too.